Hello everyone, this is Rafael Vila for Designer's Gaze, and today I'm going to show you how to stream on a budget. Stay tuned. So the first thing that you had to do is getting tools to streaming. If you have a computer already and a webcam, you're ready to go. The only thing that you need is your tools, and the most popular tool is this one that you see in the top. OBS Studio is a free and open source. As you see here, is a free open source software for video recording. You can record your screen like I'm doing right now. I'm not streaming, I'm not live streaming, I'm just recording, and you can live stream with it. And I'm going to show you how to do that. If you already stream with OBS, then you can skip most of this video. This video is not for you. But if you want to learn or refresh your memory for basic stuff on OBS Studio, stay tuned. So to download, you just select your platform. You see it's available for Windows, Mac OS, and Linux. So in my case, I'm using Windows 11, so I'm gonna use this. You're gonna see the download prompt. It will ask you where to save it, and I am going to save it in my downloads in my external drive because I don't like to use space on my computer. That computer is for game stuff and projects that I'm working on. And as you see, I already have it downloaded, so I don't have to download it again. I'm gonna cancel that, and I just need to go to the download folder, and I already have it installed. Once you download it, you find where you downloaded it, double click on that. You gonna have a prompt that says, are you sure you want to install it? You say yes, and then you just follow you hit next and follow the instruction. That's simple. It will install everything. I suggest to install it in all the default places, and I'm gonna explain why in a minute. So I'm just gonna cancel this because I'm not gonna install it. I already have it installed. But you follow the prompt and install it on all the default places that it has. Don't change any location unless you know what you're doing. But in my case, I just leave it as it is, because then when I install the plugins, some plugin has an installer, and the installer, what it's gonna do is gonna install in the default location. So to avoid confusion, just install it what it is, just basic stuff. Gonna close that. Now, along with OBS, once you install it and all that, I will suggest you to go to the plugins, and the plugins are gonna be in this URL that you see in the top, Photo Resources. You're gonna find plugins, different plugins, but these, I'm gonna use two plugins that I think are not optional. You require these plugins to avoid headaches, and I'm going to explain why in a minute. All right, so now that you install OBS, now we're gonna download this plugin that is called Transition Table. And right now, by the time I am doing this video, the plugin version is 0.2.6, and it was updated in 2021, so there's not much updates that goes around, and I'm thinking that's mistaken. Last updated, so this date is not when it was updated. Apparently this when it was released, because here you see the last updated in December 11, 2022, because I contacted him and requested for a feature, and he added. So that was incredible. To download, just click on the download button, and you will see that there's a couple of installers. There's the zip for Linux, the zip for Mac OS, the installer zip for Windows. If you install OBS in a different place, this is the one that you want to download, because you then have to drag and drop all these files in the location where you install OBS. Now, if you install it in the default settings, with the default settings, then you just click on the installer, you click download. You see I have the installer here, the application, because when you download it, the transition table comes in this compressed file. You decompress it, just right click on it, and then extract all. You extract all, and you're gonna have this installer. You double click that, and it will do the same process of installing the plugin for you in the location, on the default location of OBS. So, and the same thing you're gonna do with Move Transition. By the time I'm recording this, the version is 2.8.3 Move Transition by Exceldro 2, and this is an amazing plugin. He has a couple of good plugins that I will suggest you to download. I'm going to do another video, not in this one. This is a basic startup for OBS to start streaming. But I'm gonna add other plugins later on, but not in this video, in the continuation. Right now, I want to get you started as soon as possible. So Move Transition and Transition Table, the same thing. To download, right click here, look for the installer for Windows if you're in Windows. If you are in Mac, then download the zip, and you have to probably drag and drop the files in the folder where Mac installed the application. And Linux, the same thing. If you install in a different location, then you need to download this one. But if you install in the default configuration, in the default location, then get the installer. That's it. Basic. Now we're done with this. You install OBS, Transition Table, and Move Transition, both from Exceldro. Cool. Now let's get to it. All right, when you install OBS, this is the screen that you're gonna see when you open it the first time. You have different boards here: scenes, sources, scene transition, audio mixer. This normally is between scene transition and sources, but scene, I'm not gonna be using scene transitions. I'm gonna use the transition table for this. Just drag the audio mixer so it doesn't take much space, so I have plenty of space if I had long names of sources, and I'm going to explain later what that means. And then you have your audio mixers where all your audios shows up, the audios that you import. When you install OBS, you normally will see a desktop audio, and I disable that, and I'm going to show you in a few seconds how to do that. But then let's continue with the basic UI, so you can understand. So the scenes is for all the scenes that you're gonna have in your stream. For example, normally you have a welcome screen, or a waiting stream, the game session, an intermission, and a break, and an ending of the streaming, and this is where you create those scenes. But right now we're gonna do those scenes one by one, and I also gonna explain why after after I explain the locations of all that. If you already know OBS, you can skip this, and in the description I'm gonna put the timetable, so you know where to go if you need to skip. All right, so, and the control is where you press the button to start streaming, start recording, start virtual camera, that I can explain that later on. Studio mode, if you want to see, you need to manipulate stuff while you still, when you're live streaming and you are in a scene and you're gonna bring that scene and you have to add something to that scene, and you don't want to do it in the screen that is live, then you use studio mode, so you can move things around and prepare it before you pass it on to the stream. I hope that makes sense. Normally I don't use that because I manage all that via a deck that I'm going to show you in the second part of this tutorial set, how to create a deck and low cost. And I have the transition table move, then you have all the control, the settings, and exit. The settings is also available here in the settings. On the file you have show recording, remote recording, setting, show setting folder, show profile folder, and exit. And these are for functionality. For example, if you want to save settings, you can go to the setting folder and copy the settings, and what is saved is just text files with all the settings that you set up. And I will explain when I do the OBS Advanced, I will explain what are profiles, how to back up your scenes and all that stuff. But right now this is just basic stuff. Let's keep it basic. So edit is where you add transform, and most of this stuff you will have access in this area. So most of the time you will not access any of this except when you create a new profile. Right now I had 3 profiles, one for Rumble Locals, one for this tutorial, and one for Kick. Okay, so then you had the scenes, and the same thing, you see that I have a scene for OBS Capture, Rumble Locals, tutorials, and you can have all the different scene collection, because for example I will not bring any of those. For example, if you right now in OBS Capture, I'm gonna create all the scenes, and that scenes will automatically be saved in the OBS Capture scene collection. And if I want to export it, I come here, export it, and it will save all that data and the sources in that scene collection. The profile, what it does is the profile saves settings. Many of this stuff here that you regularly use are here. For example, the settings are here. The same thing. So what I do, the first thing I do when I install OBS, I come to audio, and that depends on the settings. If you use a virtual cable for your audio, you might need to use this for your virtual cables. But I prefer just to disable everything. Everything is disabled. The only thing I have is the monitoring device, like my microphone, and this is an important thing. Right now I had the headset that I use to stream, and the microphone that I'm using is the microphone on the headset, and I'm going to show you how to set your headset and the microphone to sound like a professional microphone. It's not gonna be perfect, but it's as close as possible as my setup with the Jetty, but I'm not using the Jetty. because the issue with the Yeti is that either I have it in front of me and it will interfere with my interaction with the viewer. You want to see my face, you don't want to see a microphone. There's many people that put their microphone in front in the face, and it's not a good practice, because it's like when you have a conversation with a person, if you continue doing this, the person will feel uncomfortable because they cannot see your mouth. All right, so I disable everything, and I have only the monitor, my Yeti USB microphone. And the reason it shows here is because the Yeti microphone has a audio jack for audio output, so I can hear how the microphone sounds. So, and I'm gonna show you how to use as a trick to control the audio that comes into the computer, and you can separate audio, so you can have control of the audio like you having an audio board in OBS. All right, so disable everything if you want to do it like I do, and you want to follow my instructions. All right, so now that you have there, the first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna import the audio output, and I'm gonna call it desktop audio. Say okay, and I'm going to select the high definition, right? And say okay, and that would be my desktop audio. So since I don't have anything playing, you will not hear anything. But let's say that I open, let me open iTunes. Alright, so I have my iTunes here, and let's say I wanted to listen to for today. So the default, now you see that it's showing here. So now I'm gonna reduce there, and it's reducing for you, but not for me. I made it loud here. All right, so I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna pause that. So I'm gonna pause because it's really loud. It's really loud for me. Actually, I can't reduce the. So right now, you see that I have the desktop audio here, because I set the default, not the monitor, because I don't have the audio coming out from the monitor. All right, so that's how I do there. But now, check this out. So I have that, and I'm gonna open the music that I put on my streams, my gaming stream from What Up Ian. I have my playlist set up, and I have the What Up Ian Super Chill. I double click on that, and it's playing. It's right here, but you cannot hear it. It's not coming through. How I do that, I'm gonna show you. Let me see. That would be all right. So I'm in part 3 already. So I explained the UI, and now we're in basic audio setup. So you saw that in settings I disable everything. I bring the desktop audio as a source, and I select the default audio of the, but you cannot hear this. Now let's say that I bring up another audio capture, and I'm gonna call it music. I create that, And now you're gonna ask me which one, and I'm gonna put the Jetty speakers, and there it is. Okay, to set up the audio as I want in this tutorial, I'm going to the system settings, sound, and go down to advanced on the volume mixer, and you have to check if you have a different operating system. I'm using Windows 11. If you have an operating system that is different, you have to check they probably have something similar to this. So I go to advanced volume mixer, and as you can see, all the applications that are open right now, they are listed here, and I can see that all of them has an output device and an input device, and all of them are set up for default. But what I did is that I told my system that every time I open VLC Media, the output will use the speaker as speaker, the output, the Jetty microphone that I have, and the input I just add the Jetty, but I don't record anything on VLC. But just in case, I just leave it like that. And this is why I said that if you are gonna invest in something that is worth having, I will suggest a microphone with an audio jack. The audio jack will be recognized by the operating system as a speaker, and since the microphone doesn't have a speaker, it will, when you play the music, the music will not come out through your microphone or through the system. It will go to that speaker that doesn't exist, that only exists if you connect a headset to it. And now here I can control the music, and you don't hear it because I don't have any monitor playing here. But if I plug in on my microphone, I will hear the combination, so I can monitor this. I have my music and I have my desktop audio. Again, you can separate that in different ways, either installing a virtual audio cable where you create like a virtual audio jacks. You can do that, but this is the way I prefer it because I don't have a soundboard. Again, you have to test all this before you start streaming, and the way that you test it is start recording a video. Now, in that note, on settings, make sure that if you have a laptop with two SSD, one for games and one for application, make sure that you come to output and you set up where you want OBS to record the videos, to send the videos that is recording, and keep them an NKV, because if you pause and start again, it will continue adding. And in that note, when you go to show recording, it will load, you see where my location, eVideos OBS live streaming, and all the videos that I record, they're gonna be recording here. For example, I'm recording the tutorial and it's showing there about remuxing your videos is turning the MKV into MP4s. So since you still can do the MP4s, I will suggest just to keep it on AKV, because you can pause and continue, pause and continue, pause and continue. All right, so as you see, I have all the audio set up that I need. For example, I have my music in the background and I have my desktop audio. Now I'm gonna bring my headset, and for that I'm going to add an audio input capture, and that input capture I'm gonna call it headset. And here I'm gonna select my microphone high definition audio. That is where my headset is. If I want to use one of my cameras, then I select that. The Xbox NUI sensor, I think this is the Kinect, but I'm not sure. I haven't used it. And I say, okay, I have my headset. And as you see, I got my headset, my voice is right here. So you have the desktop that you can control here. You have your background music, and then you have your headset, your microphone. Now, in that note, and I keep saying the same thing, let's create some filters for this, because right now, look at the voice, the headset meter when I don't make a sound. You see, that's noise. So the noise of the external hard drive. The computer doesn't have any sound, but I have a ceiling fan, and I have other stuff, my cat meowing. The first thing that I do, I'm trying to keep my voice on the yellow area. If it goes over to the red area, it might crop the sound. You can, if you keep it below the yellow area, it might be too soft. So just try to keep it that when you speak, you can go a little bit into the red area, but not to the all the way to the top. You see right now when I say "wah," it goes that way right there, but not all the way to 0. So just try to keep it on a way that it doesn't go all the way to 0. And to remove that noise that you see there, again, I'm gonna make silence and see that there is not registering silence. All that noise. So for that, you select your audio source, the headset, and press on filters, and you come here and say audio, and you go to noise suppression, and all this, everything that you create has to have a unique name. So for that, I'm gonna say headset noise suppression. I just add the whatever source name I put it on top of those, in the front of that, and I leave it like that. Now I haven't done anything. Look what happened. You see the headset? Look, all the way to 0. And this is this cheap microphone from this cheap headset. Well, this is a very good headset. I was surprised. I bought this headset for my kid, and when I hear that it was so good, I bought one for me, because it does a good job, especially when you have noise suppression. Without the noise suppression, Another thing that you need to add to the audio of the headset, so this for you to know that you can have a cheap headset and still have good quality audio coming from it. For example, let me do the example so you can hear. Right now I have my headset, and I'm gonna alter the filters. I'm gonna turn it off, and you will see the difference. I'm gonna turn off the headset equalizer, and now you can compare my voice with the 3-band equalizer off. And I'm gonna turn off the noise suppression now, and I'm gonna make silence. Now I'm gonna put the headset noise suppression, and the equalizer back again, and you hear the difference. It makes a good job to be basic filters for OBS. There's some filters that doesn't work at all, and we're gonna talk about those later on. Now I have my head's noise suppression and the 3-band equalizer, the same thing. I'm gonna do that. Headset 3-band equalizer. Okay, and you have the, and I'm gonna copy whatever settings I have in the one that you're listening to right now, so you can have it in record. So I have 0.1 decibels, oops, and I should not hit 0.1 decibel. Mids, those are the high. The mids, I have it in minus 4.50, 4.5, and the low I have it on 10. So I add low that lags on my mic, on that microphone, and I say close, that automatically save. You don't have to hit save or anything, it automatically done. And now you see, let me close the settings in my OBS that's recording. So right now you see that my desktop audio, my music, and my voice are all controlled directly in OBS. And as a recap, I went to the settings. In output and audio, I disable every global devices, and I just bring those devices as sources that I can control per scene. When you bring a global device, the desktop audio that you get is set globally. So if you mute it in one scene, it's gonna be muted in the next one. In this setup, when you move to another scene that doesn't have desktop audio, it's fade out. So you don't have to control anything. The same application is gonna do the fading out audio effect. So you don't have to worry about that, and that's what I decide to do this setup. So now we have our audio. We have our desktop, headset, and music, all independent audio that I can manipulate. So then I can test it by recording a little sample of my voice with audio from the desktop, with audio with the music, and make sure that it sounds okay, that my voice is not being muted by any of this, the desktop or the music. And sometimes I forget to do the test before I stream, and that's where people in the chat said, hey, I cannot hear you. So always make your test. All right, so we talk about basic audio setup, suggested microphone with audio output. Microphone, if you're gonna buy a microphone to do this setup, there's plenty good USB microphones, but make sure that the USB microphone comes with an audio jack, because then Windows will recognize that it has an additional speaker, and that's the speaker that you want to use. The default driver, you had two jacks. Normally in a PC you had two jacks, one in the front or the top, and one in the back, but both of those are controlled by the same driver, so you cannot use those to separate unless they are separated. Sometimes the video cards come with an additional audio, then that will be treated as an additional. That's another way to do it. If you have a sound card that is in the PCI slots, then that will be the same concept. But if your sound comes from the motherboard, you cannot do this. So my suggestion, the cheapest way to buy a USB microphone with an audio jack output. Now we're going to add the camera. That's what I have on my notes here. So to add a camera, I'm not going to add the camera that you are seeing me now, because then it's gonna create a conflict, because I had two OBS open. So I'm gonna use a camera that I bought in monoprice. And the good thing of that camera is that camera comes with a LED already installed in it. So if you don't have a nice light system like I do with a green screen, you can still stream with a basic camera that you can get for $50 if you can invest $50. If not, with whatever camera you have, I can show you how to manipulate that camera, and we can make a different test for that. But I will create LUTs for my cameras that I have right now with the lighting that I have now. In the advanced, in the more advanced setup for OBS, then I'm gonna try to work around with pool lighting when you don't have lights, but you can still stream. Either you choose not to show your face, which is okay, but it's not a good practice, because when you're streaming, you're trying to connect with the community, and the best way to connect is face to face, virtually face to face, people seeing your face. And people like to see the reaction. They say, look at that, this idiot, this ugly old idiot is all frustrated with the game. And I don't mind that, as long as you don't offend my family. The camera I have is from Monoprice. Granted, probably 99% of all the products that I sold in this website are from China, so you have to keep that on mind. And as you see, this camera, it cost, I didn't bought it for $50. I didn't bought it for $50. I bought it, it was on sale at 27 something, but it's a 2K webcam, 60 frames per second. It says that it can go up to 90 frames per second, I think it was. Let me see, what was the quality. The 2K is only 30 hertz per second, but in the settings, when you lower it to 720p or 1920 by 1080, 16 by it goes up to 60 frames per second. But the reason I bought it, because it has LED. This is the camera that I'm using, $49, but I bought it for $27, and they always have sales. If you're interested in that camera, but you can buy whatever camera. The only difference is this camera has an LED. If you don't have a light system, look at this. Now I can turn the lights of the camera and look at my face. So it has three steps. 1, 2, 3. Extremely bright. Now I cannot see anything. But that's the advantage of that camera. That for $50 is a good startup. You can also buy the most popular is one Logistic that is called 120. But again, I'm trying to keep you on a budget. Right now, I'm gonna add a camera, and I'm gonna add the camera that I show you when I'm doing video capture device. And I'm gonna put the HK that I think is mean for Hong Kong 2K cam. Okay, and I'm gonna select that camera. Okay, and look at the camera. Yeah, I don't know, for some reason it looks like it's stretched, so I have to come here in OBS, press the shift button and get one of the corners and drag it until it's in a right. And I don't know why it does that. I want to keep it like that, and it doesn't keep the transform. So I'm gonna put it on the size. Normally, what people do, and then set up. So I have my camera right now, but I'm not receiving. Actually, I'm receiving audio from the camera, as you see here. I have the audio camera here. Let me bring that up so we can see. I have the music, I have the camera here, but I don't want to use the camera, so I click on that to mute that camera, and then I come here and hide it. I'm not using the camera microphone for nothing, and I don't want to intervene with the headset. So you saw there that if you want to see it again, you just click on any of the pop-up menu on all the audios and say on hide all, and you will see it again. But again, I'm not using it. You either can do that or you can put it all the way to 0. It's not necessary. You just mute it and hide it. On the settings and the properties, I wish they would have an option that said no audio. Do not use the microphone, but they don't have that option. Or you can add the audio of the headset here, and you don't have to worry about that. That's another way to do it. But since I already have the headset, I just hide it. Just cancel that. All right, so I have my camera, and one thing that you see here, since this audio, it doesn't matter if it's in the bottom, because there's no priority for audio. The priority is for graphics. So everything that you bring, it will be on top. If you want to put it below, you just drag and drop, or just click on these arrows, up and down arrows. Because right now I'm going to bring a media source. If you want to bring a video replay, I'm gonna call it replay game. Okay, and I'm gonna browse from one of my very old very old mixer. So mixers games like this one. I open that, and I'm gonna say to keep it on the loop. Do not restart playback when source become active, and I'm gonna deselect that because I have it as a loop. And I hit OK. But now you see that you cannot see the camera because the game replay is on top of the camera. So for that, you select that and move it down, either dragging, and you see there's a line, a white line that shows in top of the layer that you're hovering. So if you want to move it in top of that, you put it there, drop it there. But if you want to move it below that, then you see the line and drag it. And now I have the game below the camera, up behind the camera. I say below because this is up and down, but when you see it, you see it on the C perspective, depth perception. All right, so now we have our camera, we have our audio that we can control, basic audio setup, and then we have our mock-up game capture. When you're gaming, you normally do a game capture, and that will capture anything that is in the background. Probably I can do that later, but not now. To show you, in the more advanced, I will add that. Just remember, just if you game in full screen, the game capture, let me show you that setup. The game capture, I just keep it like that because I only always have just one game capture. It will capture any full screen application. So you don't want to capture the cursor. You don't want people to see your cursor unless you're a keyboard user. Then you want to have that on, and then you have to have the anti-cheat compatibility hook. Or there's some games that if you don't have that selected, they won't show the game. And then if you want to show your Steam when you're connecting with other people, then you have to say that you want to capture that too. So this is self-explanatory. So the anti-cheat is required. It will activate like you're trying to play the game in two different screens. So that's what it means. So just keep that on, and if you play keyboard mouse, then you want to keep capturing the cursor. So right now, let me see if I can move this video forward a little bit so I can see. You see now that I'm when you position your stuff on OBS, you want to make sure that you don't intervene. You don't intervene with any of the UI. You want people to understand what's going on, what you're selecting, other stuff. So you can reduce the camera and y vuelve perro arrepentido. So if you want to have the camera big enough so people can see you, then for me it's more important to show my reactions on the game. So what I do normally, I just crop alternate. I press the key alternate and then I drag on the area that I normally stay. I will try to keep it on something like that, something like a square there. So I had, then when I stream, I had to make sure that I stay in that frame, and then that's what I do. So right now I'm not invading that area. So I have my game and I have my camera, and that basically it. That now you already have a basic setup. If you're gonna maintain that, if you don't gonna have a welcome screen, then, but I recommend always to have a welcome screen. For example, I'm gonna rename this. I'm gonna rename this to game session. And I'm gonna duplicate this, and I'm gonna cut, and I'm gonna leave it like that, game session too. And in this one, I'm just going to make it different. I'm gonna move it here. Let's say that you're playing a game that sometimes have a UI that shows up here that is important, or you have your camera here and the mini map, people wants to see what is on the mini map. As you see, there's part of the UI that shows up there. I haven't seen anything that shows up in this area, so I'm gonna put the camera there. So now I had two different scenes, and both scenes are using the fade transition, because it's here. If I change it to cut, it will be instant. There's not any type of animation. There's something called swipe. Let's see what it does. Let's go to swipe, and if we use that, it swipes. but I don't know. I think swipe is part of the plugins that we install, the move transition, but I don't. I mean, I never pay attention to that. I always use move transition. So for example, let's change this to fade again. That is the default that is set up, and you get that it fades really nicely. You can leave it like that, but if you want to spice up your stream, that's when we use move transition. I'm gonna get some more water. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that move transition here. So I'm gonna select, and you see this one that says move. I'm gonna put move transition, so I remember this is from the move transition. I'm gonna show you the transition. Look. Abracadabra. Ooh. That's what move transition does. It makes transitions that, depending, since I have two elements that are visual, the elements that are audio, it doesn't care about it. It fades in and fades out. So since I have two elements, that is replay game and the camera, and I have the same element, it is gonna try to it is going to calculate the position in game session and game session 2, and it will do a smooth scroll transition that you see the things ease in, ease out. Very nice. Now let's say that I decided to move this here. I didn't have to recalculate anything. I just move things from one point to another, and that's what it does. So I don't have to learn Lua or Python to make this type of effects for my stream. Now let's say that the session 2, let's say let's rename this to intermission. And the intermission is where normally you chat with people. And what I can do, the game 1 is there, and it will change to here. But then I'm going to move the game here. And I probably put this here to make it more stylish. And then I can bring the chat in this section. So look, so now you have a nice effect for your intermission. And that's the idea of move transition. That's why I said it makes your stream to look almost like more professional, even though it's so basic. It's just basic stuff. We just add two. We just had two plugins, and it looks amazing. It looks amazing, this functionality. All right, so we brought our camera, but as you see, our camera, it looks the colors are that's when you need to create what we say LUTs. And for that, there's another free tool that you can download. It's a little overwhelming, but you can keep the camera as it is if you want to. You don't have to complicate your life if you don't want to, but if you wanted to be more professional, those are things that you need to do. Let me bring this tool, DaVinci Resolve, download, and we're gonna use DaVinci Resolve because they offer a free version and they have a paid version. This is from Blackmagic. Blackmagic make a lot of audio tools that are being used even on Hollywood and professional settings. Click on free download. They will ask you how you're gonna use the product. Don't worry about it. They're not gonna get mad at you. They just want to keep record of how people are using it. All right, so I go to media. Let me go to live streaming, and I record this like 5 seconds or 3 seconds, and I'm gonna bring it here, change the project, and then I'm gonna create a timeline with this clipped. Create that timeline, and then I go to color, and as you see, this is just a simple video with that camera that I just imported, that I just bring on OBS, and you see the colors are blend, all that stuff. So what I did, this is what DaVinci Resolve is known for, color grading, and you have all these tools to color grade. So with that done, you see that this is highlighted here, that it has a color grading. So now if I right click on this, I can go, there's a option here that called generate LUT, and I'm gonna generate a LUT for 65 points cube, and I'm going to save it as this. But so I'm going to back to OBS, and you see my camera here, right? So I'm gonna select that camera, and I'm going to filters, and in the filters I'm going to add a LUT, and now I'm gonna say HK2K cam LUT, and I say okay, and then I browse 5. So it's saving top of this one apparently, and now look at the settings. Looks way better than before. Let's turn it off, turn it on, turn it off, turn it on. There you go. That's how the cookie crumbles. Really nice. Now I can use some other corrections. For example, I don't use the color corrections of OBS because they're not good at all, but I can do for minor tweaks. SK2K cam, 2K cam, color correction, and the gamma is a little annoying. The contrast is more for highlights, so I can add a little bit of highlight on top. And this is with the LUT, without the LUT. Now, another thing that you can do, since I have the green screen, I'm gonna add the chroma key HK2K cam chroma key. So there you go. I have my green screen. I can work it out a little bit better, and probably I can change the luma, but that's how you correct your camera. Even when I turn on that light, really nice, really nice. I really like how it looks. What do you think, guys? I have this overlay that I offer on my website that you can use for your streams. If you go to k2s.designersgate.com, you have this nice game tag with icons that you can use. In this case, it's not game tag, it's more like social media username. I have Designers Gate on Rumble, Locals, Discord, and Twitter. And you see all have here. Let's see. I'm gonna clear this. I'm gonna change that. I'm gonna use another and send dots. And that's really nice. That's the one that I'm gonna use. But then I'm gonna change all this to first Truth Social. So I add Truth Social there. Then I change to Designers Gate. Getter is Designers_Gate. Rumble. Have it in Locals. So I put it on the order that I want them. Truth Social, Rumble, Locals. Which one I have? Discord, Twitter, and Facebook. That's where I started long time ago. And I can specify that I want to start on let's say Rumble. That I want every time it start with Rumble, and it change every 3 seconds, and the font color is gonna be that white, since most games are dark. Depending on what you prefer, you can change all that. So when I refresh the preview, that's what I got. And then I said generate the code that I need on OBS. So I copy that, it copied to the clipboard, and then I return to OBS, and I come here in the intermission and I add the browser. It said game tag, logo, scroll, say okay, and I'm going here. I'm gonna keep it in probably 600 by 100, and I'm gonna paste that URL that it created there, and here it is. Now I have that, but I want to create something. So you have a custom overlay that you can create with services that you can get. For example, I can go also to ASP counts, and I say I want to have my follower Rumble points, and I'm gonna change this to the site. Okay. And I only have 12 followers in Rumble for Designers Gate, and I'm gonna copy that, and I'm going back here, and I add another browser, follow count. I say okay, and I put that there. And what I'm going to do, I'm gonna crop all this. And then I'm going to create a filter, and this time I'm gonna do a color key because I'm gonna use a precise follow count color key, and I'm gonna remove that green and say gonna custom and select color, and I'm gonna try to get that color. Close to that. Yep, perfect. So I say okay, and now that is a transparent item that I can use, for example, and then I can set a text count goal. I'm going to call it count goal. Followers goal. I say okay, and I said I'm gonna put 50. And I'm gonna try to let me build the column. That column doesn't look good on audio, so 50, and I'm gonna select color. Probably a dark red. Total of 50. If you want to select two different objects, you hit the control, you keep the control down and click the other object that you want to move, and then you can move them together in OBS. Alright, so we had that there. And then I want to bring a chat in here, and to do that I'm going to go to rumble.com, and I'm gonna see who's live, and there's pretty good chat, so I'm gonna use the pop-up chat. I'm gonna mute this again, and I'm gonna use the pop-up chat that it just come out. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to come here and I'm gonna copy this URL, copy that, and then I'm going back to OBS, and I'm gonna create another browser and say Rumble chat. Remember, you can do this when you're testing using someone else's chat just to test how it looks, but you're gonna change this all the time to your chat, to your pop-up chat. So I'm gonna say 500 by 600 with that. And say okay, and there you go, you have your chat there. to change it to 800 probably. Property, you just playing around and just making this as we go. So, and then move this to in there. But then I'm gonna come here to I share this code that I'm going to share on also on the locals, where in the description of this video is gonna be on locals, and I'm gonna have a PDF also with the code integrated on it, because this is for the pop-up chat. It will give style, my custom style to this. It will hide the sign in to chat and the live chat header. It will only show this with some manipulation. So I go back to properties and I leave that in top. This has to stay, just keep it there. And I'm going to add the rest here. And when I say okay, now you have a transparent chat here. Now we have our chat, we have our intermission with the camera in the side. Alright, so we had this, and I'm going to copy this. Well, I'm gonna select all that, and with all this selector, I'm coming here. I'm gonna group selection, follow count, with user tag, and copy there. So we have our intermission. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna copy these two, Ctrl C, and I'm gonna bring it to the game session, because I don't want them to disappear like that. I want them to come from the outside, from here. So the elements are there, but you cannot see them. So when I come here, they come from the side. So that gives you a nice effect. Now, with this done, trying to think how I can do this. So I want to have something, a nice design here. Not just this black rock, probably something that comes around here. So what I'm going to do, this is where you gonna create your custom template, because once you have everything in position, you say, oh, but there's something that would look good here. And so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take a screenshot of this. Doesn't have to be perfect, it's just for reference. I'm gonna copy. You see that it's been copied, and I'm coming here to Affinity Photo, and I'm gonna keep using this. I'm gonna show you, tell you what this is all about, but for the moment I'm gonna hide it. This is where I was creating all my stuff, and I'm gonna paste what we just copy here. So I want to have something that comes from the side that looks nice. It gives some style to the shot. Save this, Ctrl-Shift-S, and I say WebP is smaller than the PNG, but it's as clean as the PNG. It's not as choppy as a GIF. And I'm gonna save the 1920 by 1080. But as you see, this is in 4K. I create everything in higher resolution, just in case in the future I want to do my stream in 4K. I don't have to redo everything. It is already done. So shot overlay, and I'm gonna save that as a WebP, and I come back to just let's see how it looks. Okay, now I'm gonna bring intermission. I'm gonna create a new image. Like I said, chat background. Then upload that image. Case into success. No, was it case? Design is good. Design is good. Tutorial elements and chat. I open that. There it is. Let's see what happens. I'm gonna put it below the chat and the group and the camera. Uh-oh. Properties. It's like 25. No. 820. There you go. That's that much like it. It's okay. I think I can do something better but for in the fly, this is good. So I'm gonna select the chat background. I'm gonna copy it. Going to game session. Gonna close this. Gonna paste. I'm gonna move it below the camera and out of the screen. So now when I do intermission, everything comes together. So that's how you create your own stuff. And you can do something better, but for now that should do it. Probably I just have to bring it all the way to the top. And I'm gonna bring something extra. So I'm going to group this chat background. And I'm going to stock on Pixel, and I'm gonna search for metal texture. Let's see what it found. And oops, probably this. Let me try that. I understand. that looks extremely nice. So what I'm going to do, detection, go back to the layers, and I'm gonna change this to multiplier. Color touch. Oh, that looks good. That looks good. So I'm gonna put it in part of that. So let's see what happens when I put it as a child. No. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to select this, those two both together, and then I'm gonna select that, the image that we just brought. I'm gonna put a mask. That's a selection. That looks extremely good. What do you guys think? So now I save this again. 1920 by 1080 as a WebP. Over that one, we save it, and when we go back to too nice to be good. But probably too bright for the chat. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add another mask. Another mask there, and I'm going to choose a gradient mask, and it's gonna be backward here. I'm gonna do white, and the bottom I'm gonna do black. And also this, I'm going back to the effects, creating an overlay. I'm gonna make this a little darker. So we're gonna hide this mask. It's still bright anyway. So I got that. Let's save this again. 1920 by 1080. Say yes. There you go. And when we go back, it should be populated. What happened there? What? Nowhere. Right. 1920. Oh. Cancer. For any reason, this is disconnected. 1920, 1080, export, save, yes. There you go. Now it looks way better, way better, better, and we didn't have to change anything. There you go. So now you have seen the beauty of smooth transition. Now I'm gonna show you another thing. Now I'm going to create another scene here, and this is gonna be the break scene, right? So in the break, I'm going to bring another media source, and it's gonna be Rumble background. I'm gonna use one of the backgrounds that I offer on my locals. If you join my locals, you can find it there. Remember, designersgate.locals.com, and also remember to follow me on Rumble, rumble.com/c/designersgate. Motion graphic, where was it? Oh, socials, social animated background, and let's do this one, and loop. Don't restart on playback, let's keep going, and okay, and now we have that. Then we add a tighter BRB label, okay. B right back. Okay. Alright, we had that, and then we had this one. But then you see, I don't want this to do that. It still look good, but it's not what I want. I want to use what we call a stinger, and we're gonna use what up Ian, what up Ian stinger, rumble stinger, and I'm gonna browse for this, the what up Ian. When you support his channel, you receive all this stuff: music, copyright music, background, logos, Rumble logos, True Social logos, and animation, backgrounds animation. So I'm going to Rumble, and I say transition, and I say quick transition, open, and I'm gonna make the transition 500 milliseconds, I think it is. And now everything is gonna be that transition, but I don't want everything to be the transition. And this is where you will appreciate the other plugin that I tell you that is a must-have. And that transition is in that plugin. You can find it here, transition table. So how transition table is that you can right now in the scene transition, you cannot specify the transition to be for one specific scene. this is a general transition. So the transition is being used for everything. Every time you change a scene, it's gonna use that transition. That's what it means. But we have two scenes that I prefer to be a move transition, and the break, then it goes to the stinger. So what we do here, I select the break, and then I get session, and I select the move transition, and I see set, and I do the same thing with the intermission set. Or actually, this is the break. Game session is not gonna be, it's gonna be the stinger, and the intermission would be the stinger too, and the same thing from game to break, the stinger, from intermission to break, the stinger as well. Now from the game session to intermission, I'm going to use the move transition, and from the intermission to the game session could be move transition too. So now look at the magic happen. Abra cadabra. Move. What? I think I forgot to add intermission to break. It didn't say. Oh, so I go to the transition, say intermission to break should be the stinger. So which one is not? All right. Break to intermission. All right. So I was clicking too fast. I have the move, and then intermission. Game session. Load in the chat. Go back to the game, and then the break. And that's it. Let's bring another media source from What Up Ian. That would be the Rumble follow like loop. Okay, and in that we're going back to What Up Ian, video props, and I'm gonna look for the Rumble like follow 5 minutes. So the loop, every 5 minutes it will show this. So it has to be a loop. Replay when it started. I removed that one. There you have the follow. So I'm gonna put it there. Like crop. Gonna pause. Crop it there, and then I'm gonna right click and go to transform center horizontally, so it's right in the center of the screen. And I'm gonna change this font, select font to Arial Black. There's another that I like better, Poppins. Those are from Google Fonts. Just go to fonts.google.com and you can get nice fonts like this one that are free to use on the web. Center horizontally. Now you got it there. And I'm gonna copy this, and I'm going to intermission, and I'm gonna paste this somewhere around here. Right there. That's where better suits. Ctrl C, game session, Ctrl V. Yeah, that's where it looks better because it doesn't conflict with this. Either with the camera, and I will move it down again. Yeah, that looks perfect there. So awesome. So as a recap, I'm going back. As a recap, today you have learned how to download OBS, how to download and install OBS. We downloaded and installed two plugins, Move Transition and Transition Table. I show you the basic OBS setup, removing the audio, just using just importing the audio in a way that you can control it better in OBS. Adding the desktop audio to make sure that your game you can hear your game in the stream, but separated from your headset and separated from the music. So we have audio, desktop audio, music, and desktop headset and music, or separated, which is what a soundboard does. Also, I teach you how to add a camera, how to download and install DaVinci Resolve. It's basic stuff. DaVinci Resolve takes some time to install. It's a big application, so you have to take that in consideration. It's not as big as a game, but it's big. Also, I have teach you how to set up in the settings where to tell OBS to select a specific area where to save the video. If you have to hard drive, if you don't have to hard drive, just leave it as this default anyway. But if you have two different SSDs, for example an M2 for operating system and games, and then you have another one for storage, save your videos that you're recording in the storage, not on the SSD, because if you have your games, a lot of games, that might take a lot of space and your computer is gonna start lagging up. So as I say, I recommend, if you can, buy a microphone. Remember to buy a microphone with an output, input, output. USB doesn't have to be expensive. It just had to be a microphone with an audio output, so you can control better your audio without a soundboard. A soundboard can cost you from $100 to thousands of dollars. So there's some good small soundboard, but I haven't seen one that is as cheap as just a microphone. That's what as I say, this is streaming on a budget. That's why I trying to save you money. If you had the money, then it's better if you buy the soundboard. That is obvious. And also I recommend, if you can, to buy an external hard drive, 2 terabytes, 3 terabytes, 8 terabytes. Sometimes I bought my 8 terabyte drive. I bought it at $50 in Amazon one time, and it's a Western Digital, so it's not a cheap one. It's not from a cheap company or a Chinese unknown company that you buy on this dollar stores app. This is one that actually works. Also we learned to add a camera, downloading DaVinci Resolve, creating the LUTs for your camera to look better than what it comes from the box. Creating scenes, we created 3 scenes. I'm gonna put this back. So we created 3 scenes, as you see. Game session, intermission, and break. That normally what you do. Then in the next, more advanced, I'm gonna teach you how to create your welcome screen, your waiting screen, where you have your countdown. For that, I haven't found a plugin, because it's basically a script that you can have, and that's a more advanced feature for OBS. There's some website that offers overlays for your stream with countdowns. You can use those. Just search for them on Google or Bing, whichever search engine you prefer. Hopefully Rumble can make an alternative search engine. So we had three scenes. We learned how to add the sources, like the camera, the audio, how to bring the chat from Rumble. I'm gonna have in the description or in locals the CSS that I created that we use in this tutorial. Then we learned how to make our custom overlays using Affinity Photo, but you can, if you have Linux, there's no Affinity Photo for Linux. You can use GIMP or Inkscape. Either way, I just recommend Affinity Photo because it is, if you have used Photoshop in the past, it would be an easier learning curve for that one. GIMP is a little more complicated. You can even use Paint that comes already installed, or any open source graphic design where you can export WP or PNGs, because they have to be transparent backgrounds. I show you my techniques so I can position everything where I want. For example, when you go to the intermission, what happened there? When you go to the intermission, it shows you I teach you how to bring a screenshot of your game with your elements, so you can start positioning stuff and create your intermissions based on your setting in OBS. So we make a screenshot of the screen and bring it to Affinity Photo for reference only, so we know where to position stuff without that doesn't conflict with something in your OBS setup. And then we created a basic chat frame and frame where the user tag and the user follow count and the user follow counts on Rumble. How can bring it with ASPcount.com. ASP, we went to ASP. ASPcounts.com. So we have our count. I'll go name tag using my overlay on K2S overlays, where you can create your own, change font, size, color, game tag, the icons. You can select the icons that you want to scroll and the interval between the icons, and that's it. I think we covered a lot. I hope you enjoy this tutorial. I hope it's being of help to you, and remember, this is going to be available only to subscribers for the moment. In a month after I publish it, it's gonna be available to everybody. Supporters will have the chance to watch this first. Well, again, thank you for watching. Thank you for following. If you're a supporter, thank you for your support. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Take care. This is Rafael Villar for Designers Get. God bless.